Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you 5 delicious summertime recipes for potlucks, barbecues, and family gatherings. The first one is a delicious barbecue beef short rib recipe made in the oven. It's super easy, super tender, and delicious. I'm also going to be sharing with you my pork country style ribs that are made in the oven also. It's super easy to make, delicious, great for potlucks, barbecues, any kind of gathering. And then I'm also going to be sharing 3 desserts. One is my cherry pie recipe made with our canned cherries, home canned cherries. You can also do it with store-bought canned cherries, pie cherries, and of course the homemade flaky pie crust. The second is going to be an apple pie recipe that's been handed down in my family for generations, made with fresh apples and homemade crust. And then of course, since it's peach season, or it will be soon, we're going to be doing a peach cobbler with fresh peaches. You can also use frozen or canned if it's out of season, but I hope you enjoy these recipes. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. Okay, so the first recipe is barbecue beef short ribs. These are baked in the oven. They're super easy to make, and they're fall off the bone tender. So good. The first thing I do is cut off any large pieces of fat that the butcher may have left on these, because beef short ribs have a lot of fat on them. So you'll want to take off any extra chunks of fat that you don't want on there. Then I'm using a Montreal steak seasoning for these, but you could just use a teaspoon of coarse salt, a teaspoon of pepper, and then a teaspoon or so of dry minced garlic. And I am just searing these on both sides in my cast iron skillet, and then I am going to put them into a 9x13 pan, smother them in my favorite barbecue sauce, 2 cups of barbecue sauce, and then bake those in the oven for about 3.5 to 4 hours until they're fall apart tender. And these are just super easy and delicious. You guys are gonna love them. It's a perfect recipe for a busy weeknight, especially if you like ribs. Okay, the next recipe I'm going to be sharing is the cherry pie recipe. For this cherry pie, I'm going to be using the canned cherries that I will link below, but you can also use store-bought cherries. It's delicious. So the first thing that we're going to do is make our crust. This is the recipe that my mom used, and I love it. It's 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, a cup of unsalted cold butter that you can cut in or grate in. I use a large egg in a separate bowl with a tablespoon of white vinegar and 5 or 6 tablespoons of cold water. Whisk that together and then mix it in with the dry ingredients. Usually I'll use my hands a bit here, and then you'll want to press that into 2 balls and refrigerate it. Let it cool in the refrigerator, and then you can go ahead and roll it out after it's nice and cold. That just helps keep it flaky. Okay, for this cherry pie filling, I'm using a quart of pie cherries that I canned, or it would be the equivalent of 2 cans of pie cherries that you buy at the store. And then 1 cup of the cherry juice from those canned cherries, a cup of sugar, 1/3 of a cup of cornstarch, a tablespoon of lemon juice, and 1/2 teaspoon of almond extract. And you just cook that filling over medium heat until it thickens, and then let it cool. While your filling is cooling is the time to roll out your pie crust, trim the sides, and then you're going to pour your cool filling into the middle. If you want to do a lattice top, it's super easy. Roll out your pie crust, cut strips with a knife or a pizza roller, and then weave each piece over the top to create your lattice top. This process takes a little bit of time, but it makes your pie extra special and beautiful. When you're done making your lattice top, you're going to trim off the excess on the sides and then seal and crimp the sides of your pie crust together so it doesn't come apart. And then you don't have to, but you can use a egg wash on top and then sprinkle it with coarse sugar, and that just makes it extra brown and beautiful on top when it's done cooking. Okay, the second pie recipe I'm sharing with you is an apple pie recipe that's been in my family for generations. It's the same pie crust recipe, so you're going to use the egg and the vinegar pie crust recipe again. So you add your flour, add your salt, mix those together with a little bit of brown sugar, and then you're going to add your cubed butter, cut that in. You can also grate it in, and in a separate bowl, you're going to do your eggs, your vinegar, your cold water, and then mix that into your dry ingredients, press it together to form 2 balls, a top and a bottom, and then we're going to wrap them in a plastic wrap again and refrigerate it. Our family really loves Granny Smith apples and pink apples for apple pie. You can use your favorite apples, but these two are nice and crispy and tart. They're sweet too, but we like that tartness that it adds and that extra flavor. So you're going to peel and slice all of your apples, put them in a large bowl, and then add 3/4 a cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 a cup of flour to help thicken those juices, and a tablespoon of lemon juice to keep those apples nice and white. And stir that together with all of your apples. Then you'll roll out your pie crust, add your filling to it. You can do a lattice top or a regular top to this. Either one works great. Crimp the edges so it seals in the moisture, and then you can also add to the top of this the sugar. I do like to spread a little bit of cream or butter on there and then sprinkle this sugar or cinnamon sugar over the top just for a nice finish. You guys are going to love this apple pie recipe. You just cook it until the apples are nice and tender, so it is not mushy at all. It is a wonderful fresh apple pie served with vanilla ice cream. And on to the best country style pork ribs. These are delicious. You're going to love them. The ingredients start with about 4 pounds of boneless ribs, a dry rub. You can use your favorite dry rub or you can use mine. So in a small bowl, you'll mix together 2 teaspoons of chili powder, a tablespoon of dark brown sugar, a tablespoon of smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of cumin, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of your favorite salt, half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and a teaspoon of black pepper. And then you're going to coat your country style ribs with this yummy rub and let those flavors soak in. Then you're going to want to line a baking sheet with aluminum foil for easy cleanup and place these seasoned country style ribs onto that. Cover it with another piece of aluminum foil and seal the edges so that they can steam while they're cooking in the oven. And you're going to bake them at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. After 2 hours, you are going to uncover these ribs and drain off the liquid in the dish. They don't look pretty at this point, but don't worry. Apply your barbecue sauce and then put it back in the oven, uncovered this time at 300 degrees for another hour. These turn into tender, delicious country-style pork ribs. Is there anything better than a good peach cobbler and a scoop of vanilla ice cream? This is the perfect recipe to celebrate peach season. You're going to start with about 6 cups of fresh peaches. You can peel them, but you don't have to, and slice them up. Then you're going to toss them with your brown sugar, lemon juice, and lemon zest, and then turn them to coat. To make the cobbler topping, you're going to get another bowl, whisk together your flour, your sugar, baking powder, salt, and then gradually pour in your melted butter and milk and stir until you have a smooth batter. Then you'll pour your prepared peaches into a 9x13 pan, spoon your batter over the top, and you're going to bake it in a preheated 375 degree oven until it's nice and golden brown on top and bubbly around the edges. And of course, what goes better with peach cobbler than vanilla ice cream? Thank you so much for watching my video. As always, I will link these recipes in the description box below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and we'll see you next time.